Okay, in this video we're going to look at problems 15, 17, and 19. We did 16 yesterday. Then 18 is one I'm going to leave for you to turn in with the other problems. So on number 15, what you have is on the outside you have a rectangle, which is 10 by 5 root 2. On the inside, the white areas here, and it's not really too clear what they mean by that 5 millimeters. But the 5 millimeters, and for some reason this looks a little fuzzy, but on the 5 millimeters, it's these four pieces are all 5. Well, if you put those two ends together and turn them backwards, you're going to have a square. This thing I'm highlighting here, that segment, would be the diagonal of the square. So you've got a square. When you put them together, each side is 5. So your shaded area here is equal to the rectangle, which would be 10 times 5 square root 2 minus the square, which would just be 5 times 5. And if we pop that into our calculator here, I've got 10 times 5 square root 2, and then I am adding, oops, need to backspace one there, I'm subtracting 5 times 5, which is 25. I made as many errors as I could there on the calculator, but the answer is 45.7. So 45.7, and these would be square millimeters. And that's your final answer. All right, on problem 17. Oops. Yeah, I think 17 I'll just leave to you here. I will make a recommendation for you, though, and it's optional, but if you would draw a line right there, all right, there. Now you have on the left a square with a square inside of it, and you have on the right a rectangle. So a little adding and subtracting will get you the right answer. Okay, let's look at number 19 then. So on number 19, they're starting you with the area. We know the area on this problem is 2,000 square units. Well, that means the base times the height has to equal 2,000. Well, your parallelogram has a base of x plus 10. That's your base. Your height is just the x. So we're going to take x plus 10 and we're going to multiply it by x, and that equals 2,000. Now we solve that. This will be x squared plus 10x. I'm going to subtract the 2,000 from both sides to get here equals 0, because I could see ahead this was going to be a factoring problem. Okay, so now I'm looking for a couple of numbers, and one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. And I know that because the 2,000 is negative. The only way to get a negative product is have one positive, one negative. These guys are going to be separated by 10 because the middle guy has to be a 10, or in other words, these two have to add for 10. So now my brain will have a little bit of problem. Let's see if you can pause in Docere. I just don't know, and it scares me ever so much. Yeah. Okay, I'm back, and after a little thinking, I know that 4 times 5 is 20. 40 and 50 would multiply to 2,000. So the 50 will be positive, and the 40 will be negative. 50 minus 40 gives you the 10 in the middle. So now if you solve this, you get x plus 50 equals 0, that means that x is negative 50. Well, that wouldn't be a valid height, so I've got to throw that answer out. But if x minus 40 was equal to 0, that would give you x equals 40, which would be a valid height. The instructions on this problem said find the height and base. So I'm almost done. The height I know is 40, and the base was x plus 10, so it's 40 plus 10 is 50. Okay, so in that set of problems, we'll be adding numbers 17 and 18 for the two that you're going to do for me.